Highlights Library provides thousands of books to students and teachers and can be used in all of the ways and places kids are reading. For our teachers, we know many of you are using Highlights Library in school, in and out of the classroom. We wanted to share some modeled examples of how to extend learning with Highlights Library. Our setting is based in remote learning, as so many of you now, but this can easily be adapted to small or large classes. In addition to this tutorial, we are also sharing our teacher training guide that has more prompts and ideas. We hope this is helpful. I've got to go put on my acting hat now.
Hi, I'm Karen McGilvray, Senior Editor with Highlights. Our team selects the stories you enjoy every day in the Highlights Library. Before I came to Highlights, I was an educator. I was a kindergarten teacher, an ELL teacher, and I spent many years teaching and designing curriculum to help children learn languages, both in person and online. And one of my favorite things to do with my students was to pick a good book and read it together. So today I'm going to walk you through how you can easily conduct a lesson in person or virtually with your students using a story from Highlights Library. For demonstration purposes, my colleagues Katie, Molly, and Vandana will be joining me as my students. So the great part about Highlights Library is that it can really be used for both independent reading or for group interaction and discussion. And today we're going to focus on that group interaction piece with the title Bear's Birthday. This book is in level 4 of Highlights Library. I suggest looking generally at the average reading level of your class and picking a book in that level so it's appropriate for the group as a whole. First, I always think it's a good idea to do some pre-reading activities with the class. The purpose of pre-reading activities is to get students interested in the book they're going to read and to apply their own background knowledge related to the topic. So here are a few prompts for pre-reading for Bear's Birthday. First, I would suggest that you go ahead and just take a look at the cover of the book with your students. Molly, can you tell me something that you see on this cover? What do you see?
I see birthday cake.
That's right, I see birthday cake too. Katie, what about you? What do you see?
It looks like someone's coming in the front door.
Oh, look at that door. I see a little foot coming in there. That's right. Vandana, what else do you see on the cover?
I see some balloons floating in the sky.
I see some balloons too. That's right. Anything else? What else do you see? Molly,
There's
one more
some
thing.
Presents.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Vandana.
There's some presents that I see too.
Yeah, I see presents too. So, Molly, based on what you guys all see, some presents, a birthday cake, someone coming in the door, some balloons, what do you think the story is about?
I think it's about Bear's birthday because of the title, but I think maybe also Bear's party.
Bear's party. And what kinds of things show you a party?
The balloons and the cake with the candles lit, because that means it's a birthday cake. So you usually have that at a party, and the presents.
And the presents, yeah, it does look like a party scene, and it looks like it's maybe in somebody's house. I see a door and some pictures. Great job. So it looks like someone's having a birthday. Katie, when it's your birthday, how do you feel?
I really like my birthday. I like to celebrate.
Yeah, does it make you feel happy or excited?
Yeah, it's always nice to have my friends and family around.
Great. So sometimes once you've looked at the cover, you have established a few things about what might be happening in the story, and sometimes it's good to show a picture from the inside of the story as well. So let's try that. I'll show a picture I took from the story so that students might have a chance to look ahead. So Vandana, what do you think might be happening in the story based on this picture? What do you see?
I don't know, he looks really sad. So I wonder, maybe Bear didn't get invited to the party?
Maybe he might be sad, didn't get invited. Do you usually feel sad when there's a birthday?
No, actually, I'm always really happy when it's my birthday.
Yeah. Well, why don't we read the story and find out why Bear is looking so sad when it looks like there's a party going on. So teachers, once you've done some pre-reading activities, if you're reading the story together, you can open the book in Highlights Library and play the book's audio, or have different students read each page aloud. And through the reading, try to bring in some additional reading prompts to maintain engagement. So moving on to the library platform, Molly, can you please read to page 5?
Sure. It was Bear's birthday, but he was sad. None of his friends wished him a happy birthday. Bear went to see Owl. Do you know what day it is? Asked Bear. Yes, it's Monday, said Owl. Then Owl flew away.
What does Owl have behind his back there?
A spoon with like something on it.
I think Owl is hiding something. Let's see. Keep going, Molly.
Bear went to see Fox. Do you know what day it is? Asked Bear. It's the day before Tuesday, said Fox. Then Fox ran away.
Is Fox hiding something?
Yeah, Fox has paintbrushes behind him and a happy birthday sign back there.
Okay. All right, and then the last page, Molly.
Bear went to see Frog. Do you know what day it is? Asked Bear. It's a lovely sunny day, said Frog. Then Frog hopped away. And he has balloons.
I see he's hiding some balloons. That's right. Great job, Molly. So class, before the story, we guessed that it was Bear's birthday based on the title and the picture that looked like Bear was probably having a birthday party. And I think you guessed from the picture that he looked sad or scared. And now we know that he is sad. Vandana, why is Bear sad?
I think he thinks there's a party and he's not going to get to go, or he's not invited.
He thinks that there's a party and maybe he's not invited?
I think so.
Okay, so let's find out. Katie, can you finish reading the story for us?
Yeah. Bear walked back to his cave alone. No one knows that today is my birthday, he said. When Bear got home, all of his friends were there. Do you know what day it is? They asked. It's your birthday, they cheered. Then Bear was very happy.
Thank you, Katie. Oh, so they did remember it was his birthday, and now at the end, he is happy. Great. So teachers, now that your students have read the book and you've gone through and looked page by page, let's talk a little bit about post-reading activities. Of course, you can always choose to do the post-reading quiz questions together, or even the Readers Plus activities if it's a Readers Plus title. But for now, I'm going to skip those and offer a few other suggestions. Post-reading activities are generally a really good way to check students' understanding of the book, give students a chance to apply things they learned from the book, do some critical and creative thinking exercises, and also connect the story to their own lives. Some of the suggested post-reading activities require a little bit of prep work to create them, but we usually keep it simple. So let's start by helping students make some simple connections. So class, at the beginning of the story, we guessed it was about Bear's birthday party, which was right. And then after reading the beginning, we guessed that Bear's friends were having a surprise party, which was also right. And I'm wondering, have any of you ever done something special to surprise a friend? Can anyone share anything that they've done?
We threw a surprise party for my dad.
You did? Was he very surprised?
He was very surprised. Even when the party was happening, he thought that it was for something else. He didn't realize it at all.
Oh, that's super fun.
It was great.
Nice, very nice. Surprises can be so much fun. So teachers, helping students to make connections like this between the story and their own lives helps them connect more deeply to the story and then retain more of the vocabulary and the story elements. Speaking of vocabulary, it's a good idea to revisit some of the words that come up in the book, or even words that weren't in the book but might relate to the story. Does anyone know the word, class, does anyone know the word expect or expected and what that might mean? Katie, do you know?
I think I do. I think that it might mean that you're waiting for something to happen or think something will happen. Like when Bear thought that he wasn't expecting a birthday party.
So Bear did not expect a party, and then it made it a big surprise. That's great. Are there any other words that you can think of that relate to the story? Molly, what about something like gift? Did you
Yes.
see any gifts in that story?
Yeah, I see gifts in that picture right now that the bird has inside.
The bird has a gift that he is going to give to Bear. Can you guess what might be inside?
Honey.
Oh, maybe honey. That would be a good gift. Great. So teachers, there are lots of activities to do with vocabulary, whether they're words directly from the story or words, again, related to the story. You can create simple fill-in-the-blank worksheets or virtual ones using PowerPoint with images and sentences from the story, asking students to fill in the blank or do a match the word to its definition. You can get creative and create a mini game board or a little game show. But vocabulary activities are great ways to reinforce new words and enhance the comprehension of the story. Another post-reading activity, teachers, this is a sequencing exercise, and it's really easy to do using screenshots of the artwork from the story and mixing them up on a slide or a worksheet. Then students have to think back on the order of events in the story to place them in the correct order. Small mix-ups might happen, but what you're really looking for is to make sure that students understand the beginning, the middle, and the end of a story enough to replay it back correctly. Okay, class, so let's try thinking back on Bear's birthday and remember what happened. And what happened first, and then what happened second. Does anyone want to try putting these pictures in order of what happened in the story? You can use your annotate tool on Zoom. Molly, that should be just up in the top right of your screen. Can you draw a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 next to these pictures to see what happened first? Next.
Sure.
Teachers, you can always just have students describe the pictures and number them if you're not using a tool that lets students write. Either way will work. Okay, so Molly, you are putting a number 1, 2, what happened next? 3,
Oh yeah.
4, 5, 6. Great job, Molly. Oh, that's close. Let's see. So Molly, for number 1, put the picture of Bear walking, looking very sad, walking back home. Is that the first thing that happened in the story? Katie, is that the first thing that happened in the story?
I don't think so. I think maybe he left his house first.
Maybe he left his house first, and that would be the picture right next to it. Okay, Molly, can you write a number 1 next to the one where he's leaving his house and looking sad?
Sure.
There you go.
X that out.
There you go. Okay, so that happened first, and then Bear walked away feeling sad. And what did he do next? Number 2, Vandana. Do you see the number 2 there?
Yeah, he talked to Owl and asked Owl what day it was.
That's right. And we can see that Owl is maybe hiding something and planning the surprise. So that happened next. And then what happened? Molly, what do you have as the next step, number 3?
Then he saw a frog and asked him what day it was.
And he saw Frog and asked him what day it was. So teachers, again, walking back through the numbering, bringing the whole class through, looking at the beginning, middle, and end of the story helps us to recap the topics, the comprehension, all of the vocabulary, using the context clues. So class, to recap, first Bear was feeling sad, then his friends surprised him, and at the end he was happy with his party. What do you guys think is a lesson that we can learn from this story? Does anyone have an idea? Vandana, what about you?
I think it's really nice that Bear wasn't upset at his friends. He was just feeling a little sad himself. And so then when he met his friends, he went from sad to happy, and he kind of didn't, you used the word expect before. He wasn't expecting anything. I think he just was happy that all his friends came and celebrated his birthday.
I think that's right. So he wasn't really dwelling on having felt sad. He wasn't expecting the party, and then he could, oops, then he could just enjoy. Um, so teachers, now applying the lesson learned from the book, you might ask students to think of a time that they felt sad, but something happened that made them happy or turned the situation better. You can leave these open-ended questions for group discussion. You can assign it as homework to send to you. You might ask students to draw a picture of something that happened in the story and describe it, or talk about something it reminds them of in their real life. Lots of different ideas that you can apply to any particular story. Teachers, also don't forget that Highlights Library has additional resources for many books. This book in particular has several. These kinds of resources are great to send to your students to work on at home and email back to you or send you a picture. You can also use them digitally by displaying the worksheets like this and going around the room, asking students to help fill them in or assign small groups. So lots of in-person and virtual opportunities. I also wanted to remind you of our teacher training guide. This guide will walk you through some of what I've gone through today and also provide more ideas for teaching lessons alongside the stories in the library. All of these can be done virtually too, not just in the classroom, so very flexible. I hope you found some new ideas to try with your students, and that Highlights Library can be a helpful tool for you and your students in your classes. Thank you so much for all of the work that you do, and thank you for joining us today.